In 2040, a $5,000 Cardano bet could buy you a house or barely cover a fancy dinner. The range of possibilities is absolutely insane, and I needed to know which future we're actually heading for. So, I did something kind of crazy. I traveled 15 years into the future. Well, not literally, but I did the next best thing. I asked an AI to predict what my $5,000 investment in Cardano's ADA might become or might be worth in 2040. And the answers that I got, well, they left me equal parts excited and a little bit anxious. Right now, it's late 2025, and I've been around the crypto block a fair few times. I've got the grey hairs to prove it. Now, I've seen the hype cycles, the booms, and the busts. Right now, the market is in a little bit of a slump, isn't it? So naturally, we're all looking towards the longer game. Now, in fact, just the other day, I saw on our free educational Discord server, the link for that is in the description, by the way, someone asked me, they said, what could $5,000 be, at least in ADA, be worth in 15 years from now? And it kind of got us all a little curious. You see, Cardano has this super passionate community, even in a kind of downturn, kind of crazy optimistic. Now, they talk about how Cardano is building things like Hydra for scaling, Midnight for new features and privacy, and how an ADA ETF might be on the horizon. Now, all of that gives hope that maybe, just maybe, ADA will skyrocket in the longer term. But let's also be real. 2040 is far away, isn't it? Right? In crypto time, that's kind of like a couple of lifetimes away. Anything can happen, good or bad. So I set out on the mission to explore all of the possibilities, from Cardano totally flopping to it absolutely taking over. And trust me here, one of these scenarios completely changed how I think about this project. Now, before we go any deeper, I have to drop a quick reality check. Now, this might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube is liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Alright, that is the disclaimer, it is over. Let's jump into our time machine and check out these future potential prices for ADA. Let's start with the worst case, the nightmare scenario. First up, let's explore that worst case, right? Because let's imagine it's 2040 and Cardano has basically faded into obscurity. Maybe a bunch of faster, shinier blockchains just stole its thunder. Or perhaps Cardano just couldn't keep up with the times. Now, in this timeline, ADA loses relevance and its price dwindles to around 10 cents. Yeah, 10 cents. That means that my $5,000 investment would shrink to roughly $819. Ouch. 15 years and I'm down over 80%. Now, it's kind of like investing in the next big thing only to watch it go the way of MySpace. Now, I would be pretty bummed out, not gonna lie, but hey, it's a possibility, a real one. Now, crypto is pretty ruthless. Not every project makes it, right? And if Cardano were to stagnate or get out-competed, well, this nightmare could become true. It's a sobering reminder that even the safe long-term holds carry risk. That scenario is the stuff of my crypto nightmares, but I've learned to never say impossible. I've seen giants fall in this space before, so yeah, scenario 1, total bust, $819, tears in my eyes, lessons learned. Now, let's dial it up a notch. But just a little bit. Picture a future where Cardano doesn't moonshot, but it doesn't crash and burn either. Instead, it kind of just grows steadily, slowly. Maybe just keeping pace with the broader technology adoption. Now, in this conservative scenario, ADA's price might roughly double, over the 15-year period. So if ADA is around 61 cents, in 2025, then maybe it'll be about $1.20 in 2040, doubling in 15 years. Not exactly the headline material in crypto land, is it? But hey, I guess growth is growth. Now that would turn my 8,190 ADA, roughly that 5K buys you today, into about $9,828. So almost 10K. Now, I can hear some of those traders laughing, right? 96% total gains over 15 years. In crypto, we sometimes see that as a single day during a bull run, right? But context here is going to be key. Compared to traditional investments, nearly doubling your money is pretty solid. This is kind of like Cardano just chugged along like a reliable old car. There was no speed records, but it kind of got you from A to B. Now, I would be a bit underwhelmed too, honestly. 15 years of holding for a vacation level profit, not even taking into consideration inflation. But I wouldn't really necessarily complain either. I guess a win is a win, right? Now, this outcome is the definition of not bad, but definitely not great either. Now, this kind of where I shrug and just say, well, at least I didn't lose any money. Then maybe wonder why I didn't put it into some index fund. All right, now, this is where things heat up. Let's say Cardano actually delivers on all of its promises. The tech this keeps improving. Hydra makes transactions super fast and cheap. Midnight adds these unique privacy capabilities, and the world starts to notice. Maybe big institutions finally give Cardano that nod, and it becomes a go-to platform for some kind of killer app or DeFi niche. Now, in this scenario, adoption grows steadily year after year. By 2040, ADA isn't just another altcoin, it's a respected name in the crypto ecosystem. Kind of like how people see Ethereum or BNB today. Now, if that happens, we might see a price of around $6.10 per ADA, at least according to the AI models that I consulted. Now, $6.10 might not sound crazy at first, but let's do the math on my bag, right? 8,190 ADA. That would be worth around $49,959. So let's call it 50 grand for nice, clean, and easy math. So 5K turns into 50K. That would be a 10x return, roughly a 900% gain. So not too shabby, right? Well, that kind of long-term win that makes all of the patience worth it, right? Turning 5 grand into enough to buy a new car or a hefty house down payment. That is life-changing for a lot of people. And the best part is that this is not even pure fantasy. For Cardano to hit $6, it needs just strong growth, sure, but not world domination, right? This is the future where a lot of ADA holders just quietly hope for, right? Slow and steady growth that snowballs into something big. It's optimistic, yes, but it's not impossible in the whole crypto market expands and Cardano just grabs a nice piece of that pie. Now, we're going to be talking really big leagues. Imagine Cardano grows to be as influential by 2040 as Ethereum is in 2025. Now we're talking major adoption. Perhaps Cardano becomes one of the standard platforms for decentralized applications. Maybe even governments or big businesses start using it for their solutions. Now, if ADA achieves Ethereum's current market cap, the math would suggest a price of roughly $13 per ADA. Now, at $13 a coin, my 8,190 ADA would be worth around about $106,470. Over 100 grand from a $5,000 investment. That is a 20x return or 2,000% gains. Now, this scenario is kind of the thing that early crypto believers do dream about, right? Cardano would have at least a fire on all cylinders, of course, right? Thousands of applications, widespread use, maybe being used as the backbone for some kind of national digital currency or an enterprise blockchain solution. It's a tall order, I guess, when you kind of frame it like that, but not totally out of the question either. Remember, 15 years is an eternity in techland. 15 years ago, in 2010, Ethereum didn't even exist, and Bitcoin was trading for just pocket change. So crazy stuff can happen. Now, so at this point, I should probably remind everyone of what happened in 2020 to 2021, because so far we've been talking pretty modest gains, right? Losses in some cases, 900% gain, and if it's kind of like okay, but not great. And then you've got that kind of optimistic view, which was 2,000% gains. Sounds good when you talk about these numbers like that. But in 2020 to 2021, the last major bull run that we've actually seen in the crypto space, Cardano rose 17,000%. So I don't think the AI is necessarily too optimistic here. I think it's playing it very, very safe. I think that there's possibilities that Cardano could actually outperform a lot of these scenarios that the AI models have currently predicted. I mean, if Cardano were to repeat such a level, then it would be validation for all of those who said Cardano is an Ethereum killer, right? I mean, it would be, at least I would be ecstatic about it, obviously. I might frame a screenshot of my wallet showing 6 figures just to kind of brag, to my kind of future grandkids. But let's also keep our heads on here, right? Because for ADA to hit $13, everything has to be reasonably well, right? A lot of FOMO from retail investors, ETFs, and all that kind of stuff. And there has to be, competition, development, global economy, all of it has to line up quite nicely. Big rewards, but it comes with some pretty big expectations too. Okay, so now we kind of put on our tinfoil hats, I guess, or the AI put on its own tinfoil hat, and imagined a crazy outcome. This is the hyper-bullish, nearly utopian future for Cardano, apparently. So think of 2040 and Cardano, and it is not the same as many blockchains out there. It is a foundational layer of everything. Global finance, supply chains, maybe even digital identities or healthcare records, all somehow running on Cardano's network. Now, if that happens, the AI, that predicts that ADA could be hitting around $28 per coin. That was the AI's wild guess for that scenario, by the way, not mine, but it's an interesting one. And I don't think it would be too far off, without a lot of these things actually lining up based on the supply and the demand mechanics of how markets actually work. I mean, $28 ADA, we can let that sink in. My $5,000 investment would balloon to roughly $229,320. That's roughly $250,000. So we are talking about 4,486% returns on your investment, still significantly lower than 2020 to 2021, but still pretty decent nonetheless. Now, I should say that I'm not going to be blowing sunshine saying that all of this is going to happen. It could happen, sure. Anything can technically happen, but will it happen? Now, I'm not holding my breath for some of the things that the AI thinks Cardano is going to do. The price targets, on the other hand, I think are actually a lot more achievable than many people believe. Now, these scenarios, they make you fantasize about the fellow kind of crypto nerds late at night like myself, and then add, a guy can dream about it, right? Now, it does require Cardano to basically execute a few additional things, and they do have to execute flawlessly, and the world has to embrace Cardano, right? So you can never say never. If anything has taught me about crypto, is that you should expect the unexpected. But I do personally treat it as a fun what-if scenario, even though I disagree with a lot of what the AI is talking about. It doesn't require a lot of use case, right? Demand can come from many different places. It doesn't have to be real-world utility, but it can come from on-chain things too. So if 2040 does roll around and ADA is at $28, then, you can probably watch this back and, see how things have kind of played out and maybe comment down below. It would be a very interesting thought experiment. But I think the future is brighter than $28, and I think it takes a fraction less than what the AI is actually simulating. But I guess there we have it, where we have got 5 different scenarios from the AI models, from a sad $819 outcome to a pretty insane $229,000 jackpot. And it only really took a few stops in between, right? Pretty crazy. Now, I guess here is the twist, because doing this exercise, it has changed my perspective a little bit, right? It wasn't really about pinpointing which exact dollar value ADA will hit. It was all about understanding the range of different outcomes and how to prepare for each of them. I mean, the spread between an $819 worst case and a $229,000 best case is pretty massive, isn't it? Right? It highlights the risks and the rewards in crypto better than anything else could. And this is why I always remind myself, and anyone who will listen, you should only invest what you're willing to lose. Because while we all love a good daydream about moonshots, you do have to be prepared for the nightmare situations too. Now, thinking in a 15-year term, it also reminded me how important it is to stay adaptable, because maybe Cardano will soar, maybe it will stumble. Likely it will do some of both along the way. Now, as an investor who's been through multiple cycles, I've learned that no project is invincible, but also innovation can come out of the left field and turn underdogs into leaders. I mean, one thing that Cardano has going for it is its resilience, right? It launched in 2017, and here we are in 2025 with Cardano still a top project that's had zero downtime. Solana can't say that. Anyway, it survived brutal bear markets and never stopped evolving. The developers are still plugging away at updates, and the community hasn't lost faith. This all counts for something. Right? The roadmap with Hydra, Midnight, and other upgrades means that there's constant development, and that could spur future growth in real-world sense. Plus, if an ADA ETF actually gets approved down the line, that could open the floodgates for a whole new amount of demanding money. That is all promising stuff, and the ETF is an absolute game changer for the dynamics of the crypto market in terms of supply and demand. But success in this space isn't guaranteed by good technology or good vibes alone. It also takes timing, it takes a little bit of luck, and sometimes it takes surviving long enough. So by 2040, the current high flyers will be relics in the past. Now, I'm cautiously optimistic that Cardano won't be one of those casualties, but hey, I'm preparing for any outcome here. And speaking of preparing, if I'm really going to be holding crypto for 15 years, then I need to be smart about how I'm going to set that up today. That means security, hardware wallets for long-term cold storage. Absolutely. It also means having flexibility, like accounts on multiple different cryptocurrency exchanges. I follow a personal strategy here, like I sign up, I KYC, and I test out as many reputable exchanges as I possibly can, because you just never know when you might need it. And sometimes exchanges, they go down, suspend withdrawals. So I keep a plan A, plan B, plan C. For instance, I have accounts on, Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, LBank, Mixi, KuCoin, Blowfin, BitGet, loads, right? And I do have affiliate links for all of the exchanges that I use listed on my website. And if you do use those links, it supports the channel here at no extra cost to yourselves. Heads up for the transparency. The link is in the description if you want to check out the exchanges that I use. Having backup options, it gives me peace of mind that if one platform has some issues, I can still access my funds or take action when needed to. It's all like keeping spare keys to your crypto kingdom. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. What did we all learn here today? Well, for me, it was like looking at the long term can be both inspiring and a bit sobering, because on one hand, you can see the potential for life-changing gains, but on the other hand, you have to confront the fact that things might not pan out how you want. And that is okay. It's all part of the journey as an investor. It keeps you humble, I guess, and it keeps you curious too. I'm going to keep monitoring Cardano's progress here and maybe adjust my expectations as things evolve. Maybe in a couple of years, we'll do a bit of an update video to see if ADA's on track and is aiming towards one of those scenarios. Now, in the meantime, I'm staying engaged. And if you want to chat more about this or any other crypto topic, then remember, we can join our community on that Discord, right? The link is in the description below. It's free and it's full of sharp, passionate people who love talking crypto and sharing ideas. Now, I am curious, what do you think ADA will be worth in 2040? Are you in the camp that sees it going to the moon, or do you think that it's going to just jog along or even fall behind? Now, let me know in the comments. I read all of them from time to time, and I love hearing different takes. Maybe you'll bring up something that maybe I haven't even considered. If you've enjoyed coming along this little kind of time-traveling crypto adventure with me, you can do me a favor by hitting the like button and the subscribe button and joining me for the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.